Thank you so much for staying tuned to this channel. Welcome to yet another edition of International Forum. I am Wilson Marshall. Well, today we'll be diving into what is happening in the U.S. Yeah, it has happened already. Talking about the emergence of KELVIN MCCARTHY as the Speaker of the House of Representatives in God's own country. So many controversies through this emergence. You get to see even party members fighting, scuffling just to make sure that the process doesn't favor or didn't favor KELVIN MCCARTHY. But after 15 rounds, for the very first time in a long time, that America's speakership position was, tousled over, was fought over, election cancelled, nomination cancelled, and of course it got it right at the 15th time after making a huge sacrifice. You want to know the sacrifice? Well, in course of this show, you get to know, as you hear from our analysts, what they really have to say about the process that led to the emergence of KELVIN MCCARTHY, and of course, definitely the impact it will be having in Joe Biden's administration. Don't forget that the Democrats, they are in charge of the Senate, but the Republicans are in charge of the House of Representatives, and a very strong, astute politician, the president of KELVIN MCCARTHY, is the one in charge. With me here in the studio, I have a public affairs commentator, political analyst. He's a clergyman, and of course a lecturer, College of Medical Sciences. Let me to welcome Honorable Frank Amego. Appreciate your coming.
Thank you so very much.
All right. And of course, we'll be joined by a U.S.-based legal practitioner from Texas. You remember him, Osanho Osazua. Yes, he'll be joining us in the show from that end, because some questions were thrown at him. I was able to give answers to those questions that were really bugging the minds of pundits, trying to examine what really led to the emergence of KELVIN MCCARTHY as the Speaker of the U.S. House of Representatives. He made so many tough stands. I'm going to say the impact or implication or effect of those tough stands if he chooses to follow through with what he really said he is going to do. But first of all, let me ask Osanho Osazua this question. Osanho, I don't know, were you surprised at the emergence of KELVIN MCCARTHY as the Speaker, House of Representatives of the U.S.?
Hello, Wilson. Good day to you and our most esteemed viewers on independent television here in Benin City. I am so glad to be back again on this program, on this platform, and it's my pleasure to be back. Thank you, Winston, for this opportunity you've given to me, and I really appreciate it. So we are looking into KELVIN MCCARTHY and the 2022 U.S. midterm elections that resulted in a Republican takeover of the House of Representatives. And yes, talking about the emergence of KELVIN MCCARTHY, if it came as a surprise or not, I can tell you for free that I am not surprised at all. He has been the minority leader of the House for some time now, and following the midterm election of November 2022, we all knew that KELVIN MCCARTHY was in line to become Speaker. But the way and the manner and the processes that led to his speakership indeed leave so much to be desired.
All right, now from what he said he wasn't surprised at the emergence because he's been there at the background, and of course he's been pushing for it till he had to simmer after the Capitol riot. But now I choose to come back to say, look, this is what he's really been wanting since his emergence as a member of the House of Representatives. I'm going to ask you the same question. When you got to hear of him emerging as the Speaker after Nancy Pelosi stepped down, it took quite a while for them to conduct the election. Of course, he became victorious after rounds of ballots. Take it up from there.
Yes, as it came up after the 15th round, which was first in about a century, but commonly you have the speaker elected after the first round. Then I saw his doggedness, his relentlessness towards ensuring it becomes. Even when a lot of odds were against him, he was resolute to ensuring that he emerged as the Speaker of the House of Representatives. And when he finally got that ticket, I praised him to the extent that he really has a lot of things to offer for the American continent and for the people especially. And if we go by that, one would expect that Joe Biden will be challenged. Joe Biden will be challenged because this is a case of trying to check on the balance. Republican, then the Democrats. So would the Democrats, like the president, be able to cope? Because they have different agenda, unlike what happens in Nigeria, even in those states, whereby if the president or the governor is from a particular political party, it becomes a kind of a reflex action for the speaker or the Senate leader to cross carpet to the party.
All right, hold on. That's all about to cross carpet from the ruling party. I know that because right now we're taking a look at what really transpired. You get to hear about individuals trying to really make sure that the process was cutted. Everyone just placing their demands on the table. Everyone just making sure that they press so hard to make sure that it gets a slice of what it takes to be a member of the House of Representatives, because the strong woman, so to speak, right now in quote, Nancy Pelosi, has, stepped down as the Speaker of the House. And there are so many news and reports making the round that the House may not be the same again, knowing fully well that another strong man, the person of KELVIN MCCARTHY, is the one in charge. And some are saying it's going to be an unending battle between the Democrats and, of course, the Republicans because of the new person in charge. Some called him a Trump protege, but we would definitely get to that. So continue with the points you were making about you being surprised or not about the emergence of McCarthy.
Yeah, I'll also relate that with what happens in Nigeria, and even those states we don't mind. Like each time you have like a president in power, even if the speaker of the House is from a different political party, it will in a short while turn to be that the speaker or the House of the Senate chambers, the leadership tend to turn towards that of the president. But that's not the case in America. The Democrats believe in a thing. The Republicans believe in another thing entirely. But all geared towards the unity and progress of the American continent. So it's going to be a major challenge for the President Joe Biden. Though he said in his statement post-election of KELVIN MCCARTHY that he is not really surprised, that he's expecting that despite the different political parties, that they should have the American continent in mind. I saw that in his speech as I sensed some level of fears, because anything he will want to do, the Republican may not completely accept. It's just like Joe Biden is the president, then Donald Trump is now the House Speaker. So how can you come together? But if there's fairness between them, the president and the speaker, it will lead to the betterment of the American nation. Because at a facial value like that, it will seem as if there's going to be an unending war. That's why in Joe Biden's statement, post-election, that brought in KELVIN MCCARTHY into power, he made a statement for a reunion. Let's have a common ground. You could come from different political affiliations, but let's not forget the values of the American people. But if that is anything to go by, we will not need to hear from KELVIN MCCARTHY if that same view is holding. But meanwhile, Joe Biden has said so. But I have not heard from McCarthy what his views would be if he agreed totally with Joe Biden as a president, and more so as a Republican. It's a thing they have earnestly waited to hear and to see their people come back. You know, like it's not a thing to underplay that Donald Trump would not have influence on McCarthy. Maybe things he would have done in the second term, and he couldn't by way of election. It was not voted for to win the contest. He might want to do that through Kevin McCarthy to act the script. And if that becomes the situation, I don't know how Joe Biden is going to fare through the remaining years he has in office.
All right, now you mentioned Donald Trump. Let us move back to Barrister Osazuwa, talking about the the hand of Donald Trump in the process. I mean, was it really felt, because some reports, speculation has it that it was Donald Trump that really made some calls for him to really skate through after the 15th round. What do you feel about Donald Trump's influence in the process that led to the emergence of Kelvin McCarthy?
Yes, the issue of the implications of the various deals and concessions made by Kelvin McCarthy in order to become speaker with those 20 Republicans, it has far-reaching implications both for Kelvin McCarthy's speakership and for the Biden's administration. Yes, because what he did, the concessions he made were so grave. Kevin McCarthy was so desperate to become speaker that he even agreed that in a house of over 460 people, that a single individual, a single representative can wake up one morning, just maybe drunk or something, and get to the house and ask that Kevin McCarthy step down as speaker. And having said that, it becomes imperative for a vote to be taken on whether Kevin McCarthy should step down or not, even just on the recommendation of one single individual. That was the extent. To which Kevin McCarthy was willing to put his own existential speakership on the line, because he so desire above all things else.
All right, now, before we dive into Donald Trump's influence, he talked about what Kevin McCarthy had to really sacrifice. Because before he was able to get that particular position, he struck a deal that for him to be that, because someone raised the opinion that, look, for us to really support, you have to give every individual the right to serve a vote of no confidence on your leadership. Instead of saying 25% of the House, say anybody can come in the morning and say, look, we don't like what you're doing, and I want the speaker to step down. He was so eager, he was so willing to do that. I mean, don't you think he's going to put him in a kind of a box?
Yeah, it's a level of desperation. It's the same way all over the world in politics. Same way they tell us in Nigeria that they can link your house directly from Kainji Dam to have light 24 hours. They can make all manners of promises. But it really baffled me to hear from Kevin McCarthy that they could pass a vote of no confidence.
Anyone, just anybody.
If we look at it, it's from both sides. One, he could have been very desperate. Two, he would have known that he will stand for whatever thing he has agreed to do. So we're going to hold him by his words. And the clause he gave that any person, even the one or two persons, if the person passes a vote of no confidence, then he steps aside. That, in a way, can also make us believe that he is going with a mindset to do what is right as far as America is concerned. So I want to, let's leave him at that point, and let's watch. He knows the Constitution of America. He knows what the people are looking for. He knows the heartbeat, so to speak, of the American nation. So I'm sure if one person raises an objection to whatever move he's making, it will have a counter-attack in the sense that if it makes a pronouncement and that pronouncement didn't go down well with the other members of the House, it could come back and defend that I said this based on social part of the Constitution. So it's not just going there as a layman. For him to accept, if I perish, I perish. Of course, we have known people over the years, for biblical days, like Esther, that if I perish, I perish, she didn't perish. So if he said that, of course he said that, as he said that, one should not expect him to do the needful per time. So he is saying to the public, to American public and the whole world, that he is ready, come rain, come sunshine, to do what is right before everyone. I'm sure every other political office holder should say a thing like that. If you have that in the back of your mind, that you have made a promise, a public declaration, that you could be dropped if you made a mistake. In other words, he's not coming to be the Speaker of the House of Representatives as a pencil that has an eraser. He's going to come like a permanent marker that anything he puts down, you hold him by it. That statement also shows that if he says a thing that does not go down well with some persons, and you come up with an opposition, he is not deterred. Before he would take a decision, he would have consulted. Of course, in the midst of opposition, that's when we really have the right type of leadership in any given society. So he could be opposed. It's just like you have a boss in the office. You can't question your boss, but you can ask your boss a question. There are two different things.
Two different things.
Yes.
You can't question your boss, but you can ask your boss a question.
So if you question your boss, that becomes a major challenge. For him to say, any person that raises objection to whatever thing I'm going to say or do at any time, I will resign. But he's not going to just resign if I make such a statement and you said a particular color is green and I say it's blue, and somebody else comes to say, no, that is, whistle is correct. I'll say whistle is correct based on the type of lighting that's around us. So by that, I have a way of escape. If you say the bottle is half empty, I'll say it's half full. So there's no contention. So that shows to the people his desperation, that he has things in mind to actualize towards making America really great and permanently great. In the face of global crisis, economic and otherwise, so he has decided to stake his neck to say things can really get better if you allow me become the House of Representatives Speaker. And now the 15th round, it has been allowed. So let us check with time. Time will tell if or not he can stand by what he has said.
All right, now, from what Barrister Sazuma said it shows desperation. Others says, no, this is a spirit to serve, that he will not be self-serving. After all, he is open to scrutiny. Now, which side of the divide will you fall into?
Yeah, both of them, because he has not really done a thing now to want to judge him. As I said, that they could impeach him by one person. Any one vote could impeach him.
One person can raise the motion
to
impeach.
Yes. So he said that first on desperation, as is come up to any politician. A politician can tell you, even in those states, for instance, somebody vying for a post of House of Assembly will tell you, will tar roads, he will build schools. It is not part of your functions. You could say that out of desperation. That's on one leg. On the other leg, it shows that he is truly ready to serve. And what he has brought to the table can make a total turnaround. The desired impact, positive and long-lasting impact, if he has them. So you go to the field of play, let's test strong what you've said. So if events go contrary to what he has said, then the one person's vote can impeach him. So it's on both sides. But only time will tell where the thing will swing towards. Is that of outright desperation? Let me just be one of those that became a speaker, as it happened some many centuries ago in the 18th century, where somebody led for about 2-3 years. That's the shortest. We have the longest. That's Samuel Rayburn. He did it for 17 years and 53 days. So some persons will want to just be on the list. Once upon a time in American history, I was a House of Representatives Speaker. Just as we also have in Nigeria. Some person wants to become president for the sake of becoming president. What to offer? Nothing. So let's leave Kevin McCarthy for time to judge.
All right. Now, but some are saying that this will just give the Democrat an ample opportunity to always raise the flag to call for impeachment of Kevin McCarthy. Because right now he made it open, say yes, if it's only one person that said, look, a vote of no confidence, Speaker, you have to step down, it will lead to a vote.
The Speaker, as I know, of any Congress is not to initiate and conclude by himself. Matters B's will arise from the floor. So if a Democrat says, let's fix some roads, and the Speaker says with his gavel, I agree, would they impeach him? I just agree with what he said. So there's a balance that's going to happen now. Yeah. And Joe Biden is not on his own comfortable. Some bills will come to him, to the floor of the House, to superintend over. So if that thing will fly for the common good or average American, why not? So in other words, Kevin McCarthy is saying that anything that is good for this country is what I represent. So if the Democrats now say, let's do the wrong thing for him to accept, if he does not accept the wrong thing, then we impeach him. That the Americans they are watching. It's not like in Nigeria that you just hear on radio that so has happened. But there, a lot of hearings would have taken place. People say, if what the Speaker said is right, then why you say something contrary? It's not like the Democrats in the House will say, okay, let's go and fight Russia. And McCarthy said, no, this is not the right time to fight. So because you said this is not the right time to fight, we are going to impeach you. That doesn't make sense. So those that are warming up to impeach the new Speaker should also think. Because as they are assessing him, all the public is also going to come back to assess the other members on the floor. So that you have been given that platform or leverage does not mean you should abuse it.
All right. 15 rounds of ballots.
Yeah.
I mean, does that show cohesion in the Republican Party right now? I mean, even amongst the Republicans, they're not even happy with the emergence of McCarthy. 1, 2, 3, 4, up to the 15th time. Do you think McCarthy will have a smooth sail as the Speaker of the House of Representatives in the U.S., despite the fact that there's this in-house fighting?
I will answer straight by saying he's going to have a smooth sail. First to the 5th, he didn't give up. If he didn't give up, second, third, 15th time, it means he has something in his sleeves that could move America forward. So those that didn't vote for him earlier on, there were some absent cases. Yeah. Those that didn't vote for him earlier on will not realize that this man, as he's insisting on persisting to become the House of Assembly Speaker, let's give him this opportunity. I can't give you an opportunity to showcase your talent. There will still be the same person to castigate you. So those that voted him into power will ensure and preserve that his stay there is smooth. So I don't say a situation whereby after some days or weeks, they will drop him. Nobody's going to drop him. People voted for him. Those that voted for him have a responsibility, directly and indirectly, to defend their own votes. That this was a person we waited for. First, so the 15th round, we decided to spare every other thing to ensure that this man emerges. And now he has emerged. Those that brought about his emergence shouldn't be the one to bring him down, expectedly.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, now back to the question, Osaho Osazuwa, the effect or the hand of Donald Trump in the whole process, because Barrister's Honorable Frank said people brought him in. People are like saying that Donald Trump was instrumental in this emergence. What do you have to say about this?
Yes, thank you very much, Buinsi. When we talk about the role, the nature of the role that Donald Trump played in the emergence of Kevin McCarthy is glaring, and it is a bitter, sour experience because Trump had earlier endorsed McCarthy years ago. We all knew that if and when the Republican Party take over Congress, that McCarthy will be the undisputed speaker. So that's how it always was until 2020 or 2021, January 6th, the insurrection. It was after the insurrection that McCarthy was caught on tape, very angry with Trump, saying that Trump has so many unspeakable words about Trump. So when those tape leaked, and he knew that because Trump then and even till now is the clearinghouse for candidates in the Republican Party. So he ran to Mar-a-Lago. He went there to genuflect, as it were. He went there to lean, to beg, and to ask for forgiveness. And then Trump forgave him, and then anointed him again, and it became, of course, he went back to Nancy line for speakership. So that's that. Trump played an enormous role in his emergence.
All right, you heard him. He said Trump played an enormous role in the emergence of McCarthy. Don't forget they fell out during the insurrection because the tape leaked, because McCarthy was very, very upset with Trump. He said so many things about Trump because of what happened in the U.S. during the Capitol riot. He blamed Trump and they fell apart. But later, according to what Osaon said, our report do have it that he went to beg. Say, please, what I said, emotions were like, up there. I really need your support. I need your backing. The hand of Trump in this whole process, do you think it was Trump influence that really made McCarthy the Speaker of this House of Representatives?
Yeah, one cannot rule out the overwhelming influence of former President Donald Trump in the emergence of KELVIN MCCARThy, because as he made such blunders on tape, Donald Trump saw it. And one thing about leadership, if you have a good follower and that follower makes a mistake and he owns up, a good leader will retain such a follower. That's what has played out right now. I made such statements based on the things I heard and the things I could see at that moment. But now I'm seeing it on the other side. I'm sure he would have apologized, and the apology was well accepted. Otherwise, the influence of Donald Trump over the emergence of McCarthy would have been on the other side. So if, as he did that, Donald Trump, he will still ensure the stability of McCarthy in that position. Donald Trump will still go all the way. He has his own voice on ground to ensure that McCarthy remains in that position.
Even in the House of Representatives?
Yes. It can ensure that someone's going to vote, raise a flag. What you said earlier on, that if anyone opposes you, then you will step aside. It's going to create a balance. Issues may arise. And I'm sure machinery has been put in place to resolve matters, not necessarily on the floor of the House, maybe outside. They'll settle themselves out. They'll come back to the floor. You see, everybody is smiling. This is a new frontier to American governance. As I said in my opening remarks, that Joe Biden, though he spoke in a confident way, but if you read it between the lines, it's finding it difficult to understand that a Democrat and a Republican will come together and bring out a thing that will be to the benefit of the American people. But take note that it won't go down well with Joe Biden, because there are things he would have done so seamlessly if he had his own person in power. So this is the kind of check and balance Nigerians also need. If there's a Party A president, there should be a Party B Speaker in House of Representatives, yes. Then the House of Senate, 3 different political parties. Let's see that you really mean for the good and progress of Nigeria. So he's going to see a situation in America now that whatever Joe Biden will say, he has to think more deeply this time. We're going to present a bill to an opposition party. So let's cross the T's and dot the I's completely before we submit it. Unlike before, oh, my person is there. He or she knows what to do. But this time is not the same way. So on the part of McCarthy, if he's going to oppose any bill from the president or presidency, he too will think deep, will rationalize, without even dispassionately, that this matter that is brought before me, what do I do? Should I bring in sentiments or not? You must come up with a suggestion or a resolution that all of the continent of America will say, oh yes, this is my beloved son. So what is on ground now is on both sides. You're going to checkmate what the president was going to do. Even as McCarthy has said, any one person could vote me out. But there's no right-thinking person that heard from someone else like McCarthy, where McCarthy will say 1 + 1 is equal to 2, and we just raise a flag. That becomes abnormal. So it's not left for everybody to sit tight and move forward towards the common good of the nation. And commonly said, after an election process, the next is governance. If side A didn't vote for you, that does not mean you are bad on that locality, as is done in Nigeria. So in America now, we are going to table everything. Let's see it. Transparency will be truly transparent now. There's no cover-up, except McCarthy is going to cross carpet to the other party, which I doubt. They have that party supremacy. They have their belief system. It's like a religion to them. They have believed in this and they have believed it. So it will be difficult for the other opposition party to sway them into leaving their common purpose towards believing in the opposition's purpose. So what I see here, time will tell how American governance will be any moment from now.
All right, talking about how American governance would be any moment from now, not that Joe Biden is the one in charge. Talking about, Kevin McCarthy becoming the Speaker of the U.S. House of Representatives. Which effect, Barrister, do you think it will have on Joe Biden's administration? About to you, Barrister.
Very importantly, there is a huge need if the U.S. government is not to shut down, to increase the borrowing of the federal government beyond the $31.4 trillion that it presently is. So every economist, what their notes, they are all in agreement, them, that there is need to raise this portfolio, this ceiling. And it is expected that sometime around May or June that Biden will approach Congress to raise this ceiling. But if the body language of Kevin McCarthy is to be believed, we might likely have a government shutdown before November this year, because I don't think they believe there is need to raise government spending beyond boosting any need that is outside the military, outside making bigger and smarter bombs. I don't think they are interested. And then the issue of immigration is also. Kevin McCarthy has told us, even from his acceptance speech, that he was concerned about two things: cutting government expenditure and the issue of immigration. Yes, we might in the very soon, in fact, it has started. We must understand that the United States House of Representatives is indeed powerful, because nothing gets done in government without money. Even today, Kevin McCarthy, in his acceptance speech, told all who cared to listen that he was here to put a halt to what he called the excessive spending of the Biden administration. Of course, no government should be allowed to spend what it does not have or what it is not capable of generating. We all know that. But when you hear the Republicans talking about cutting government expenditure, it is baffling. It is beyond comprehension. What they are indeed talking about is that anything that has to do with government welfares or ameliorative programs for the poor should be removed. It is almost always invariably has to do with cutting down government help and dollars, directly impacting social security. So that has always been what they talk about when you talk about cutting government spending.
All right, cutting government spending. Thank you so much, Barrister Osahos. As well, this is much we can take from you. Thank you for spending your time with us. You know, it's like, you know, towards the night period right now. Really have to let him rest. But he talked about shutting down of government if both the executive and the House refuse to agree. It happened in time of Donald Trump. God was shut down because he didn't get into an agreement reached over monetary issue. Do you see it happening in this era? Because what he said from his own prediction, before November, there must be a shutdown in government because McCarthy said he's going to cut government spending. And you know, governors in the U.S., we talk about millions or sometimes trillions of dollars. Don't forget also the Russia-Ukraine war. Take it up from there.
Yes, even before November, a lot of things would have cascaded and we were able to predict clearly. If the cost of governance is exorbitant, the right-thinking person should look for a way to bring it down a bit, considering the prevailing circumstances. If the money is there and we are living well, you can go all the way to spend any amount you want to do. So if McCarthy is insisting in summarizing his statement, migration and expenditure, if he's going to insist based on common discussion for Joe Biden to spend this much, there would have been kind of checks and balances. There would have been kind of some calculations made. Not that they just said, okay, bring $1 trillion. A lot of things will have been put in place. So it would be wrong of McCarthy to just go there and cut the expenditure without considering the items and the purposes this money has been budgeted for. So the budget should be looked at first, not necessarily the figure. If we're going to be having 50 cars per officer in a year, because no, we can't use 50, let's use 25. But if you just go ahead and slash from 200 billion, let's slash to 100 billion, it becomes a major challenge. So that is where McCarthy has to be careful. And if that happens, Joe Biden has been in power before McCarthy. And these things have been running smoothly. If that is why he wants to be the speaker, I will tell you, that thing is dead on arrival.
How?
Because it's a system that is working already. You're not going to reinvent the wheel. You're going to wait for the next budget. This one is running already. I'm sure that's what Sazuwa said, November.
November, yeah.
Let's have the next budget. Then there will be meetings upon meetings upon the proposed budget. So if a consensus is reached, such that a percentage of the budget is reduced, or even padded as they do in Nigeria, then the floor can decide on what to do. It's not for the speaker to not unilaterally say, I'm going to cut it. Because people are represented, they are representing various states and various communities. So you alone, because you have the gavel to say we're going to cut down the budget, you alone can't say that.
No, you said excessive spending of government.
That word excessive is ambiguous.
Hold on. Now take a look at the U.S. spend rates this period, infusing the conflict between Russia and Ukraine. It is amounting to trillions of dollars. And from what McCarthy said, he said, look, don't spend what you don't have. Also remember that the U.S. is heavily indebted to China to the tune of $300 million, if I'm not mistaken. From that angle, do you think that McCarthy is correct?
He is not totally correct. U.S. wants to help Ukraine. If I'm going to help you, I should help you totally. So if you're going to help Ukraine midway and abandon them to Russia to demolish, then what have you done? So if helping Ukraine, more money is needed, why not? You're going to save lives. Then you are owing China. There should be ways of defrailing the debt. Other means be sought. So to say we are spending so much trying to rescue Ukraine from the grip of Russia, so we should reduce our spending. That in a way humanly does not make sense. Let's help Ukraine. If there be other nations that will need much help as this, they can relax a bit. But we have started helping Ukraine. Let's help them to the last of it. So if McCarthy is angry, maybe it's on the side of Putin. If he's not on the side of Putin, he should believe the American dream.
Well, he never said he's on the side of Putin. He's talking about American perseverance right now.
Yes.
Conserving money.
You don't conserve money. It's just like they said things are expensive.
Yeah.
So you want to reduce spending. Would you reduce spending and be sleeping under the tree? I don't want to pay house rent again. I want to use that money for house rent to buy clothes. I want to reduce or cut down spending. You still have to eat. I've known over the years, I've lived on earth here, that we have a type of friend that will never leave you. Whether you are broke or you are not broke, that friend will not leave you, and that's hunger. Whether you have money, you don't have money, hunger sticks by you. So who said because I'm cutting down my expenses, so hunger should wait? Hunger will wait for you. Because food is ready, it's not meant for those that are hungry. Food is ready, it's meant for those that have the money and they can pay. So if McCarthy is just coming on that platform that let's just cut down, that cut down, you have to be careful. You don't cure headache by cutting off the head. So it's a thing to review. We have helped some nations thus far. So let's come down to a round table and review all what we've been doing. If McCarthy comes to that round table and discovers that the money expended so far is justified, then why not?
All right, now McCarthy also talked about China. Remember that during the time of Donald Trump, there was this trade-off between U.S. and China. So people are saying that McCarthy want to continue that war from where Donald Trump left off. How do you feel about that?
It's just
because he said he's going to continue, he's going to talk about the trade and the rest of them.
McCarthy is not the president of America. So if Joe Biden says, let's relax the war or the conflict between U.S. and China, let's relax a bit, I think that's more reasonable than someone saying the war was suspended, the crisis was suspended, let's energize it, let's start all over. I wouldn't want to spend much more money in challenging China than what they are doing now, are trying to help Ukraine out of the crisis they are in. You want to conserve money, and now you are creating an opening for more money to be expended. So that is puncturing his point. So if you are not happy with Joe Biden, that's a personal thing. But based on policies, you should agree with Joe Biden that let's relax our conflict with China. Let's concentrate on other things. So whenever you are interested, you can contest to become president. Let it be on record that your time you resurrected the war between U.S. and China. But as far as I'm concerned, I want to maintain some level of peace. It's just like in Nigeria. Some person said, no, let's split. But the sitting president will never allow it. Because it will go down record that it was in your time that Nigeria split. So nobody wants to have that stigma. Joe Biden doesn't want to have that stigma. You are just agitating. When you become president at any time in life, you go and fight China.
All right. Now, some of the opinion that the reason why McCarthy is also hammering on this is because of the belief the Republicans talking about a welfareism. You get to see U.S. extending more hands to immigrants, trying to help them to stand on their feet, and that is gulping billions of dollars, according to reports. Some are saying that is also one of the targets of McCarthy. After all, former President Donald Trump was totally, if not completely, against migrants moving in from either Mexico or from some other countries. They marked the axis of evil.
Yeah, if he is insisting on that, though, he made that in his inaugural statement.
Speech, yes.
Yes. So if he's insisting on that, he's going to meet up with a brick wall.
What kind of brick wall are you talking about?
What Donald Trump attempted to do and did not succeed, they want to come back to starting it. What business do you have with immigrants? Are they coming to deplete your resources, or they are coming to improve on what you have? So if that line is drawn, there may be no need to argue that we shouldn't allow immigrants to come into America anymore. Question you should ask himself, what are they coming to do? Are they coming to improve the education or the economy of our nation? If yes, then allow them come. Allow them come. Because there are a lot of persons in America that are not really from, originally from America. And they have impacted positively on that country. So for you to now rise up, then you are going to racism now. By that statement, you want to go back to what Donald Trump did or said and couldn't see the light of the day, that had the umbrella of racism. Is that what you're going to reinvent? Of course, that pronouncement you made, that one person could vote him out, that could be the occasion.
That they'll protest against him.
Because let people come into our country.
Yeah.
There is no one nation in this world that is self-sufficient. Okay, why is America owing China? Why did you say no, it's an abomination for us to owe? Okay, let's not owe again. America is more indebted than Nigeria. But just that Nigeria is not among the producing nations of the world. So they owe much more than we are owing in Nigeria. And they have better leadership than we have. Otherwise, if we have a good leadership in Nigeria, they will run from US to Nigeria to settle down. So what McCarthy is saying, in essence, is coming to fight, not for progress. Otherwise, it should build on the existing infrastructure, human capital infrastructure that is on ground, not to dismantle. Dismantling it will spare due for his administration. And the person that the shortest duration of leadership as of reps that did about 2-3 years, it's not just the 1 year. It might break that record, unfortunately.
All right, thank you so much, Honorable Frank and Megan. Of course, big thanks also to Barrister Osahosa, who joined us from Texas, US. Both of them shared their opinions and, of course, view on this particular discussion. Just one word, 45 seconds. What do you think Joe Biden should do to really accommodate this speakership of the House of Representatives? Because it's like this man is coming for an outright confrontation.
Yeah, take it or leave it. Joe Biden has made a statement after McCarthy won that they should live in harmony. I'm paraphrasing what he said. They should live in harmony because if Democrats can tolerate the Republicans, then the reverse will also be the case. Yes. So Joe Biden has extended his olive branch to him. So we expect a reciprocal effect from McCarthy back to, it's not just to come to fight. What are you fighting for?
All right, what are you really fighting for? What I've gone on and on talking about the implication in Donald Trump's pursuit of the presidency that will be in the next election, but time will not permit us because Donald Trump was truly instrumental in McCarthy's emergence as the Speaker, U.S. House of Representatives. It's like, give or take. He's going to support Donald Trump fully in his course of becoming the president once again. We do not know, but right now, KELVIN MCCARTHY, he is the Speaker, U.S. House of Representatives, and he's been talking tough, really tough. Let's see how all this will pan out. Once more, I really appreciate your coming, Honorable Frank Amigo. Thank you so much. Yeah. We'll do it again next week, Tuesday. God willing. Bye for now.